What if I told you that one day, every sunrise you've ever known will happen for the last time, not because the Earth is ending, not because of an asteroid, not because of war, but because the star that gave us life is slowly running out of time. Right now, as you're watching this video, the sun looks calm, warm, unchanging, just another ordinary star in the sky, but deep inside its core, a silent countdown has already begun, a countdown that no one can stop. No technology can fix it, no civilization can escape it, because every star, no matter how powerful, has an expiration date, and when our sun reaches its final moments, the solar system won't end with a single explosion. It will unfold like the slowest nightmare imaginable. The oceans will vanish, the skies will burn, entire planets will disappear, until finally, there is only one thing left to see, the last sight, before the sun dies forever. And trust me, it's far more terrifying than anyone has ever imagined. For almost every moment in human history, the sun has been there. It rises without asking for attention. It sets without saying goodbye. We've watched it every day for so long that we stopped thinking about what it really is. But the truth is almost impossible to comprehend. The sun is not a burning ball of fire. It is a massive sphere of superheated plasma, so enormous that more than 1 million Earths could fit inside it. And yet, despite its unimaginable size, it is just an average star. There are stars in our galaxy so large, they could swallow the sun hundreds of times over. Still, for us, there is nothing more important. Every breath you take, every drop of water you drink, every tree, every animal, every city ever built, exists because of the energy created deep inside this star. Every second, the sun converts nearly 600 million tons of hydrogen into helium. That reaction releases an unbelievable amount of energy. Energy that begins a journey across the sun's interior. A journey that can take thousands, sometimes even hundreds of thousands, of years. Only after that incredible journey, does sunlight finally escape into space. Then, it races toward Earth at the speed of light, even moving at 299,792 kilometers every second. It still takes just over 8 minutes for sunlight to reach our planet. Think about that. The light warming your face today actually left the sun more than 8 minutes ago. In a way, we're always looking into the past. Without realizing it, every sunrise is history. For billions of years, this process has remained astonishingly stable. The sun has balanced two unstoppable forces: gravity, trying to crush the star inward, and nuclear fusion, pushing outward with unimaginable power. As long as those two forces remain in balance, the sun survives, and so do we. It has been this way for nearly 4.6 billion years. Long before dinosaurs walked the earth, the sun was already shining. Long before the first human looked up at the sky, the sun was already halfway through its life. It has witnessed the birth of continents, the rise and fall of civilizations, and every chapter of human history. To us, it feels eternal, something that could never possibly disappear. But that's only because our lives are incredibly short. If a star could speak, an entire human civilization would pass by, in little more than the blink of an eye. Stars don't measure time the way we do. Their lives unfold across billions of years, so slowly, that change becomes invisible. But invisible doesn't mean it's not happening. Even now, while this video is playing, the sun is changing. Its core is becoming slightly hotter. Its fuel is becoming slightly lower. The difference is too small for any person to notice. But over millions of years, those tiny changes become impossible to ignore. Every sunrise, every sunset, is one step closer to the final chapter of our star. The countdown has already begun. We just happen to be living at the very beginning of it. Imagine placing an hourglass on a table. At first, it looks full. The sand barely seems to move. You could stare at it for minutes and swear nothing is changing. But grain by grain, the countdown continues. That is exactly how the sun lives. Every second, it burns through an unimaginable amount of hydrogen. Around 600 million tons of fuel disappear every single second. At the same time, about 4 million tons of mass are converted directly into pure energy, following Einstein's famous equation, E equals mc superscript 2. That energy is what lights our skies, warms our oceans, and keeps every living thing alive. It sounds impossible. How could something lose so much material every second, and still survive for billions of years? The answer is simple. The Sun is unimaginably massive. It contains more than 99.8% of all the mass in our solar system. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid, every comet, combined, make up only a tiny fraction of what the Sun contains. That's why it has been able to shine for so long. But even a giant has limits. Deep inside the Sun's core, the supply of hydrogen is slowly shrinking. As that fuel becomes harder to find, gravity begins to take control. The core starts to contract. It becomes denser, hotter. The pressure rises to incredible levels. And something unexpected happens. Instead of growing weaker, the Sun actually grows brighter. It's one of the greatest ironies in astronomy. A dying star doesn't fade away at first. It shines even harder. At first, the increase is almost impossible to notice. A few million years pass. Earth becomes slightly warmer. Another few 100 million years. And the change becomes impossible to ignore. The balance that protected life for billions of years begins to break. The seasons become more extreme. Heat waves last longer. Polar ice struggles to survive. Rainfall becomes unpredictable. Forests slowly retreat. Entire ecosystems begin to collapse. This isn't because the Sun is exploding. It's simply getting older. Just as a candle burns brightest, right before the wax is gone, our star is entering the earliest stage of its final transformation. If humanity still exists by then, our descendants won't be asking how to stop it. They'll already know. It can't be stopped. The only question left will be, how long do we have before home is no longer home? And that answer is more frightening than most people realize. For most of human history, we feared that the end of the world would arrive in an instant. An asteroid, a nuclear war, a deadly virus, something sudden, something impossible to escape. But the Sun has a different plan. It doesn't destroy Earth overnight. It takes its time. As the Sun grows brighter, our planet begins to absorb more heat than it can release back into space. Year after year, century after century, the temperature keeps climbing. At first, the changes seem manageable. Summers become longer. Winters grow shorter. The hottest places on Earth become almost impossible to live in. People move farther north and farther south, searching for cooler climates. But eventually, there is nowhere left to run. The oceans, Earth's greatest source of life, begin to disappear. Not because they drain away, but because they slowly rise into the sky. Water evaporates faster than rain can replace it. The atmosphere fills with thick clouds of steam. From space, the blue planet slowly loses its color. The deep oceans that once covered nearly 70% of Earth's surface begin shrinking. Shoreline by shoreline, rivers stop flowing, lakes vanish. Entire continents turn into endless deserts. The forests that produced oxygen for millions of years can no longer survive. One by one, they disappear. Without trees, without oceans, without rain, Earth becomes almost unrecognizable. The air grows thicker, hotter, harder to breathe. Even the strongest storms in human history would seem gentle compared to the superheated atmosphere now surrounding the planet. The surface temperature continues rising, until standing outside, even for a few moments, would be impossible. Every city ever built, every monument, every road, every bridge, begins to crack, melt, and collapse under the relentless heat. The world that humanity spent thousands of years creating is erased, not by violence, but by time. If anyone is still alive, they are no longer living on Earth. They are watching from somewhere else, perhaps from Mars, perhaps from distant space stations, perhaps from planets orbiting another star, looking back at the tiny blue world their ancestors once called home. And then, the final oceans disappear. There is no blue left, no green, no white clouds drifting across the sky, only a dark, burning world, circling an aging Sunday. Home has become a memory, but Earth's destruction is only the beginning. Because the Sun is still growing, there comes a moment when the Sun is no longer the star we once knew. It has become a red giant. From a distance, it is breathtaking, a glowing sphere of deep orange and crimson, hundreds of times larger than the Sun that once warmed our world. But beauty can be deceptive. As the red giant expands, Mercury disappears first. The tiny planet doesn't explode, it simply vanishes, swallowed by an ocean of fire. Soon after, Venus follows. For billions of years, it circled the Sun in silence. Now, its journey is over, nothing remains. Then, all eyes turn to Earth. Will it survive? Or will it become the sun's final victim? Scientists still debate the exact answer. As the sun loses mass, Earth's orbit may drift slightly farther away, but even if our planet escapes being swallowed, it cannot escape the heat. By now, its surface is hotter than molten lava. Every mountain has begun to soften. Every metal structure has melted away. The atmosphere that once scattered sunlight into a beautiful blue sky is gone. There is no wind, no rain, no sound, only silence, and an endless red horizon. If someone could somehow stand there, they wouldn't see the sun rising above the landscape anymore. The sun would fill almost the entire sky, a burning wall of fire, stretching from one horizon to the other. There would be no shadows, no night, no escape. And then, the moment finally arrives. The sun begins shedding its outer layers. Gigantic waves of glowing gas, billions of kilometers wide, drift silently into space. The solar system becomes surrounded by expanding clouds of light. This is the sun's final masterpiece. One last display of unimaginable beauty, before its light begins to fade. If any human eyes were still there to witness it, this would be the last breathtaking sight they would ever see. Not an explosion, not darkness arriving in an instant, but a silent, glowing sky, slowly unfolding into eternity. And after that, the star that gave us light takes its final breath. And then, it happens, not with a deafening explosion, not with a flash that tears the solar system apart. Instead, the sun quietly lets go of its final outer layers. For a brief moment, those glowing shells of gas drift into the darkness of space, forming a breathtaking cosmic cloud. From light years away, it would look like a glowing flower floating through the galaxy. Beautiful, peaceful, almost impossible to believe that it marks the death of an entire star. At the very center, only the sun's core remains, a tiny, white-hot object known as a white dwarf. Although it's only about the size of Earth, it still contains nearly half the sun's original mass. A single teaspoon of its material would weigh tons on Earth. But despite its incredible density, its greatest days are over. There is no more nuclear fusion, no fresh energy being created, no new beginning. The white dwarf simply glows, using the last heat stored inside it, like the fading embers of a dying campfire. Around it, the solar system is almost unrecognizable. Mercury is gone. Venus is gone. Earth is either a lifeless burned-out world, or nothing more than scattered debris. The remaining planets continue drifting through the darkness, orbiting a star that no longer truly shines. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune become silent survivors, circling the ghost of the sun. The warmth that once reached every corner of the solar system is gone forever. Over billions, and then trillions, of years, the white dwarf grows colder, dimmer, redder, until one day, it stops glowing altogether. It becomes something the universe has never actually witnessed yet. A black dwarf, a completely cold, completely dark, stellar remnant. By the time that happens, the universe itself will be unimaginably older. Galaxies will have changed, stars will have been born, and died, countless times. And the place we once called home will be little more than a forgotten memory in the endless darkness. Yet, there's something strangely beautiful about this ending. Every atom in your body was forged inside ancient stars that died billions of years before the sun was born. One day, our sun will return its own elements to the universe, becoming part of future stars, future planets, and perhaps, future life. So in a way, the death of the sun isn't truly the end. It's another beginning. The universe never stands still, it only changes. And maybe, that's the greatest lesson the cosmos has ever taught us. The stars that give us life cannot shine forever, which makes every sunrise, every sunset, and every moment beneath their light more precious than we ever realize. Because one day, far beyond the lifetime of humanity, there really will be a last sunrise, and after that, the sky will never look the same again. If there's one thing the universe has taught us, it's that nothing lasts forever. Not planets, not civilizations, not even the stars we trust to rise every morning. One day, there really will be a final sunrise, a final beam of light crossing the emptiness of space. And when that moment finally comes, the universe won't stop. It will simply keep moving, without us. So the next time you step outside and feel the warmth of the sun on your face, remember this: you're looking at a star that has been silently counting down for billions of years, and somehow, that makes today's sunrise more valuable than ever. If you enjoyed exploring the darkest mysteries of space with me, make sure to subscribe to Dark Skies Ahead, because our next journey will take us even deeper into the universe, where the impossible becomes reality. Until then, keep looking up, because the universe is filled with stories most people will never hear. I'll see you in the next journey.